Okay, so like most people, I'm guessing, uh, we all love a good chocolate bar, right?
Right?
But have you ever stopped to think about, I mean, really think about all the skill and like the precision it takes to get that perfect, you know, melt in your mouth texture?
It's true.
So today's deep dive, we are talking about the often unsung hero of the chocolate world, the cocoa press operator.
And it really is fascinating, I think, when you dig a little deeper into this role,
Yeah.
because we're not just talking about, just operating machinery here.
Right.
We're talking about someone who really understands the nuances of cocoa butter extraction
Okay.
and how it impacts the entire chocolate making process.
Yeah, the RoleCatcher resources that you provided, they really highlight this.
Yeah.
They talk about extracting specified amounts of cocoa butter
Right.
and how that impacts the quality and consistency of the final product.
Yeah.
It sounds surprisingly high stakes.
It absolutely is.
Uh-huh.
Think about it. Even a tiny variation in cocoa butter extraction can dramatically alter the final product.
Really?
Too much, and you might end up with a chocolate that's too brittle or melts too quickly in your mouth. Too little, and you're looking at a grainy, unappetizing mess.
Wow. I never realized how much a tiny change could impact the taste and the texture of the chocolate.
Huge.
So we're talking about a real balancing act here for this job.
Precisely.
Okay.
And, the RoleCatcher data reveals a surge in artisanal chocolate makers.
Interesting.
And that's really driving up the demand for skilled operators
Yeah.
who can consistently deliver those nuanced flavor profiles.
Okay, so that explains why this job is in such high demand right now.
Exactly.
But what's the day-to-day work actually like for a cocoa press operator?
Yeah,
The resources mentioned something about it being physically demanding.
it's true. You're often on your feet for long hours.
Right.
And the environment can get hot and humid, especially when you're working with those temperamental cocoa beans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But then there's the flip side. The RoleCatcher guide also mentions a good salary
Right.
as a major perk.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense, given the skill and precision required.
Absolutely. Companies are willing to invest in experienced operators
Yeah.
who can ensure the quality and consistency of their product,
Right.
which ultimately impacts their bottom line.
So you're telling me all that chocolate isn't just going to taste itself?
Exactly.
Someone's got to put in the work.
Someone has to do it.
But let's be real, those long hours and potentially repetitive tasks,
Right.
are those deal breakers or just part of the territory?
That's a question you have to ask yourself, I think.
Okay.
What are your priorities?
Sure.
The repetitive tasks are really about maintaining those high standards batch after batch.
Right.
It can be a grind, but for someone who enjoys the meticulous side of things,
Yeah.
it can also be quite rewarding.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because the RoleCatcher resources also talk about how crucial it is for a cocoa press operator to have an eye for detail
Yes,
and a real passion for quality.
absolutely. A good operator isn't just going through the motions. They're constantly monitoring the process, troubleshooting any issues,
Okay.
and making subtle adjustments to ensure the final product meets those exacting standards.
Okay, that's given me a much clearer picture of what it takes to succeed in this role.
Good.
But let's say someone is just starting out.
Hmm.
What kind of career trajectory can they expect?
Yeah.
Is it just a dead-end job,
Right.
or is there room for growth?
That's actually one of the things I found most interesting in these RoleCatcher guides.
Okay.
The potential for career progression. It's not a one-size-fits-all path, which
Interesting.
is actually quite exciting.
You said it yourself, not a one-size-fits-all path. I love that.
Yeah.
What did RoleCatcher highlight about those different paths?
So it's all about building on those foundational skills.
Okay.
You might start by mastering the technical aspects of operating the press,
Right.
really getting to know the ins and outs of the machinery.
Okay.
But as you gain experience, you can specialize in areas like quality control,
Interesting.
process optimization, or even move into a supervisory role.
That's impressive. The resources mentioned a senior cocoa press operator
Right.
who started by just running the machine and ended up analyzing production data
Yeah.
and implementing company-wide improvements. That's quite a leap.
It is, and that's why having that strong foundation in the technical aspects of the job
Right.
is so important.
I see.
It allows you to really understand the why behind the processes
Yeah.
and identify areas for improvement.
It's almost like becoming a cocoa press whisperer.
Yeah.
You start by listening to the machine and end up having these big picture insights that can impact the entire production line.
That's a great way to put it, and it's something that really stood out to me in the career stages section
Okay.
of the RoleCatcher guide.
Yeah.
They emphasize the importance of skills like troubleshooting, problem solving, and even communication.
That makes sense. You're not just working in isolation.
Right.
You're part of a team.
Exactly.
So being able to communicate effectively both with your colleagues.
And potentially with management is essential for moving up the ladder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those skills become even more important as you take on more responsibility.
Okay.
For example, a senior operator might be responsible for training new hires,
Right?
optimizing production processes, or even working with suppliers to source higher quality cocoa beans.
Okay, so it's clear that there's plenty of room for growth in this field.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's say someone is ready to take that next step in their career.
Right.
What are some of the things that hiring managers are really looking for
Yeah.
in a cocoa press operator?
Well, we know from that RoleCatcher data that this is a competitive job market.
Right.
So it's not enough to just have the basic qualifications.
Yep.
You need to be able to demonstrate those soft skills we were talking about, problem-solving, attention to detail,
Mm-hmm.
and a genuine passion for the craft.
And how do you show that passion in a job interview?
That's where those targeted interview questions come in. And thankfully, RoleCatcher provides a ton of examples.
Yeah. But there's one question they highlight that I think is particularly revealing.
Okay, what is it?
How do you ensure the quality of cocoa products produced by the cocoa press?
That's a great question. I mean, it's one thing to say you're detail-oriented,
Right.
but how do you actually, demonstrate that in the context of cocoa press?
Exactly. That question goes beyond, just listing your skills on a resume.
Okay.
It forces you to think critically
Yeah.
about the entire production process.
Right.
It's about understanding how your role as a cocoa press operator impacts the final product
Yeah.
and being able to articulate that clearly.
So it's about connecting the dots between the technical aspects of the job
Yeah.
and the bigger picture of crafting a delicious chocolate bar.
Precisely. And that's what sets a truly passionate cocoa press operator
Yeah.
apart from someone who's just there to punch the clock.
That makes perfect sense. It's
Yeah.
about showing that you're not just pressing buttons.
Right.
You're invested in the craft.
Right. And RoleCatcher offers a treasure trove of other insightful interview questions
I bet.
to help you prepare. But ultimately, the key is to use those questions as a springboard
Okay.
to showcase your unique skills and experiences.
It's like having a cheat sheet to help you ace that interview
Yeah.
and land your dream job.
So for anyone out there who's feeling inspired by this deep dive,
Yeah.
where should they go to learn more?
Well, RoleCatcher is a fantastic resource.
Yeah,
Their in-depth guides provide a comprehensive overview of the role,
it does.
from the day-to-day responsibilities to the career progression opportunities.
It sounds like RoleCatcher is the ultimate guide.
It is.
For anyone serious about a career as a cocoa press operator, this deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Yeah.
Even for someone like me who considers themselves a chocolate connoisseur, I never realized how much complexity and
Yeah.
artistry goes into every bar.
It's a hidden world of craftsmanship, and
Yeah.
honestly, that's what makes it so fascinating.
For anyone listening who's ready to go beyond just enjoying that chocolate bar,
Right. And explore the possibility of crafting it. Remember, the resources are out there.
they are.
RoleCatcher can be your guide, whether you're just starting your journey or looking to take your career to the next level.
Who knows, you might just discover a passion for chocolate you never knew you had.